Hey, welcome back to DIY Willy. Today is an exciting day for me. I'm hoping that there's some of you who have watched my channel may have been looking forward to this build as well. But today we are going to start assembly build of the what I'm calling the Briggs Raptor. This, from what I understand, this is a Raptor block. We'll talk about some of the things that tell me that it's a Raptor block. Hopefully somebody in the comment section down below can tell me maybe if I'm wrong or explain to me more details about this engine. But I'm excited to build this engine. My original video that I was going to make today was on the Razor, but I haven't got all the parts I have been waiting for the Razor, so I'm not going to make that video. I'm going to start another engine build, and when those parts for the Razor come in, I need to take the body off and I need to weld and put those parts, work on the Razor. That's not what this video is about, though. I don't want to get sidetracked. But anyway, I am still working on those projects, even Mighty and Max, my mini bikes. But today, it's kind of cold and rainy outside, and I think it's a perfect time to start the Raptor build. So yeah, I say we get down here and we check out the parts that we have, the block, and we'll talk about the block, and well, we'll just start getting it assembled. So yeah, let's get started. So I have a mix of new parts, old parts, experimental parts. I'm going to try, that'll be, we'll get to that later. And hopefully I have everything we need to build this engine. I have the hardware, the engine came with all the hardware, and I have some hardware left over from the Briggs build. But I would like to do like all custom hardware, like ARP type hardware. And so I'm going to be measuring the block and the different types of hardware that we need, and see what I can find in from the ARP catalog and get that on order if I can. Yeah, I've been trying to keep these bearings lubricated so that they don't rust too bad. This engine, if you remember, I'll try to put a picture here somewhere of when I bought this engine. This engine was extremely rusty and frozen. The cylinder would not move. Here's Spike over there. Man, he was being quiet while I was setting this video up, and now all of a sudden he's noisy. Anyway, I can tune him out a little bit. But yeah, I'm going to try to get all new ARP hardware if I can. And anyway, I'll clean up the old hardware and make sure that it's ready to use for this assembly. But let's take a look at what we got here. All right. So we have the Raptor block. And this has got a bearing on the output side, the PTO side. I did have to chase these threads a little bit because I damaged them when I was taking the engine apart. The bearings have oil in them. The inside one is a bushing. It's got oil in it too. But, it's been sitting for a while, so it's a little bit dry. So we're going to clean it up again. We've got Super Clean stepping up for this project, supplying the cleaning products to keep the engine clean. And if you've seen other videos I have, that stuff works amazing for getting the grease out and the oily buildup, and just all the parts super clean. So yeah, we've got the valves in. I just noticed they're at an angle this way. I didn't notice that before. The valves are angled this way. So yeah, maybe that's another part of the Raptor block that I was unaware of. We'll talk about more features of the Raptor block that identify this engine, but let's just look. We've got a 10 thousandths over piston, and if you remember my video where I was thanking Kentucky Fried Fixes for finding this piston for me and sending it out, it came with the top rings, and I believe the oil ring, it didn't have the oil ring, but he sent me a 15 thousandths piston which did have the oil ring. So I'm going to try to use the 15 thousandths oil ring on the 10 thousandths piston, I'll probably have to grind the gap a little bit to make sure the gap is right. We'll have to measure that later inside the cylinder, see if we can get that piston to or that ring to fit the 10,000 cylinder. We're gonna lap the valves. We're gonna clean up inside the block, inside the intake and exhaust. I still need to try to degrease this a little bit in here. I don't like the way it looks. It's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of just dirty and ugly looking. You know, there still needs some degreasing in on the on the crank. I may try to soak the bearings a little bit and get those a little more cleaned out. Inside here, the block maybe I'll try to put it in the sonic cleaner upside down, back and forth, see if I can clean it up better. A couple things about this block that kind of say it is a Raptor block are the bolt holes, the bolt threads that go through the block. Some of the blocks, let me see if I can find it. Well, it's kind of hard to see. Yeah, it doesn't really show. I'd have to take the engine apart. The regular Briggs block, the head studs, from what I understand, I'd have to take the other Briggs apart to show you, but they only go down about 2 fins. This one goes down, they call it 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. It goes down 4. And so it goes deeper into the block. And that is supposed to strengthen the head studs. That's what I'm told anyway. Also, this block, now that we see it, also has the canted valves like that. They're at an angle. But it also has this support here between the intake exhaust and the valve cover. It has this extra added support here that stiffens the block in that area. So these are just some of the things that I've been told and noticed about the block. There's also some things going on down here that are slightly different. And of course, I don't believe a Raptor has a governor, but this block, you can tell this block did at one time have a governor. So maybe this is an early Raptor block when the governor was still part of the block. I don't know. But this doesn't have a governor in it right now, and it hasn't had for some time. But that's what I know about the block. I think there's some difference in the head as well, but I can't tell you what those differences are. So here's the head, and I mean, it looks in good shape. I'm sure somebody can point out something that can explain more about the head. We're gonna take this and sand this mating surface down for the head and the mating surface for the block, and make sure that they're completely flat. I'm not trying to take material off to increase compression, but I'm just trying to make sure that they're nice and flat. So we'll be doing that during this build, along with all the other things that we've talked about so far, in preparing this block for final assembly. Now, I have a new rod. This is an ARC 6350, and man, it's a beautiful rod too. Just like all the rods, they're amazingly pretty, really nice. This is the same rod that came out of this engine, and this is the pin for the piston that I got out of there. We'll reuse that again, but we've got a new rod with the old pin. Everything still feels nice and tight in there. Of course, these rods come with new bearings, and we'll be checking the oil gap on the bearings to make sure that we're good. I have no doubt that we're not good with that. I have a Briggs billet flywheel. Now, originally, if you watch my other videos, you know that I was going to use this on Biggs the Briggs, my other Briggs and Stratton build, but it was too big. It wouldn't fit. So the Raptor block will get it. Now, this is a 5-horse flywheel, and they do make a 3-horsepower Briggs flywheel that I'm told will work a lot better on this engine. Being lighter, it's less mass that the engine has to spin up, and all you have to do is a coil bracket to change it from a 5-horse flywheel to a 3-horse flywheel. And who knows, maybe they're still available. Maybe we'll do that eventually. I also have, I believe these are 22-pound springs for the Briggs, and I I have some other gaskets in there that are for the engine when it's time to assemble it. So yeah, that's gonna look really nice on there. I love the way the billet flywheels look. It's such a beautiful piece. It's a shame they get covered up with the sheet metal for the cooling and the pull starts, but hey, that's just the way it goes. I know in Mighty has a clear fan shroud or pull start cover, and you're able to see the billet flywheel on there, but the Briggs, you know, that's just not available. Another part that we stepped up for this build that was originally again for Briggs is a Dynacam's 94SS TSP cam. Now this, from what I understand, is a good go-to cam for these Briggs engines. Again, I'm just doing this off of what I read, the months and months of research I did while finding these parts about the Briggs. I'm not too familiar with them, but from what I understand, this is a good cam to go with. Now, this cam, the 94SS, is a hot stock class cam. Valve timing intake is 31 degrees before top dead center, and it closes at 70 degrees after BDC, whatever that is. A lift is 0.262, so it's almost like when we build the 212s and stuff with the 265. And the exhaust, the same thing, very similar, with the same lift of a 262, with a valve lash of 6 thousandths. I got to remember that when I'm putting this thing together. The recommended ignition timing is 30 to 32 degrees. And as we know, those ARC flywheels are usually set at 32 degrees. I will double check, though, on the Briggs flywheel if it's set the same. I got to assume it's the same. It's a safe assumption anyway. But we'll definitely check that out. And if we have to get a timing key or make a timing key to adjust that timing, we can do that. That's not a problem. But you got to see this cam. If you haven't seen my other video where I showed this cam, man, this cam is amazing. Let me get it out. All right, you ready to see this cam? This cam is beautiful. I special ordered this cam because, you know, obviously they don't make a lot of these Briggs parts anymore. And when I ordered it, they didn't have the billet blank they needed to build this cam. I had to wait like 3 weeks for them to get the billet blank to machine this cam. It's beautiful. It's something, again, I wish I had a clearer side cover to show this cam, but here it is. Isn't that a nice cam? This thing just, it's a shame that it's got to be covered up. I mean, it's just a beautiful cam. And man, it's gonna look so good in there. Like I said, too bad I gotta cover it up, but that's just the way it goes, you know. I've got a new gasket kit. Briggs gasket kit should have everything I need to seal this thing up. The side cover, I've got the side cover here, and unlike the other Briggs we started recently, it didn't have the 4 bolts for the clutch cover or for the torque converter or whatever. This one does, however, have it. I would like to get the aluminum side cover, the billet side cover, and I may do that if it's still available. I think I can order it through ARC, but I've got this one for now, and we'll get it all cleaned up and prepared to go on this block. Now, here's something I bought that is not for a Raptor engine, but I really like the look of it. The old school curve look. It's kind of hot rod looky. It's kind of, I don't know, like 50s looking with all the rounded edges. I just like the way it looks. It's not correct for this engine, but I think it just looks really nice. And when I have it painted up and everything, it's going to make the engine look real sporty. And that is the cooling shroud or tins or pull start cover, whatever you want to call it. I got this one, and I bought it off the old eBay. And again, it's not the year specific for this engine. It's not the one at all for this engine, but it's gonna work. And see this radius here? I really like that. All the curves on it. I just think that's really neat. Now, it's really rough. It's gonna take me some time to sand it and clean it up. The patina is nice. I could keep it this way with the patina, but you know my engines, I like them that red and black, and I'm gonna do that to this one too, unfortunately. But it does have a fantastic patina on it, and it would look really neat if I was going for that look. But this sticker is not the correct sticker. These stickers are incomplete, so they don't really look that great. This one, I believe, would be a correct sticker for this engine, but we'll take it off. I would like to find a new one, or maybe a 5-horse to go right here. If I could find a Raptor sticker to put here, they make them the Briggs Raptors. If I could find one of those stickers to put here, I would put it here, but it'll probably wind up like my other engine being a DIYWILLY sticker. Because this one's pretty ugly, scratched up and faded. Again, if I was going for that patina look, I would leave this like it is and ride with it, but I'm not. I'm going for a real nice resto mod kind of look, and I will clean this up and make it presentable. Again, it's very nice. In fact, what model did this come off of? Well, I can't see it right now. It looks like it's a 13-232 model. So whatever that is, it looks nice. I like it. It's not the correct engine cover for this engine, but I like it. Here's the old parts we're not going to use. The old flywheel. Man, that thing is heavy. The piston I wanted to use, but I ended up breaking it, taking it apart, getting the rings out. See, it broke a couple places, I believe. And, well, it's just not usable anymore. But we have this one provided by from Kentucky Fried Fixin', and we'll put it in. This was the rod that, if you remember the video, I had to cut it out and sacrifice it to get it out. It was totally seized up in there, and maybe I should have used some heat or something, I don't know, or soaked it with some more penetrating oil to get it loose. But I wound up cutting it, and I sacrificed the rod. It could have been reused. I have bags of miscellaneous. This is just like, here's the coil that came with it, some more miscellaneous screws, some lifters, spacers, and stuff that you know, we may or may not use. And then again, we have over here some of the cooling tin, I call it tins, some of the cooling stuff that was for this engine, and the old camshaft that was in here. And I gotta believe this was some type of a performance cam, because of just the way it looks, other than it's extremely rusty. It's a lot heavier than the other one too, but I cannot identify it. There's no markings on it. Then BX, there's something it says right there, BX something. Maybe that is will tell me what type of cam it is. I don't know, but there's more hardware and more things in there that we're gonna need to build this engine. Now this engine, if you look at the model number, this engine is a 13.5-232 type 1084E1, code 981229YA. Yeah, with that said, this is all the information we have on this engine. The parts, I'm sure there's something I'm missing, but I think I've showed pretty much all of it. And well, we've got a lot of measuring to do to get this engine in and built. Most importantly, we got to measure out those rings. We've got to clean the cylinder, lap the valves. Maybe I'll cut the eyebrows right here. You know, you can cut these eyebrows and increase the performance, but at the angle they're at, you know, maybe that's not necessary. My other engines I've seen with that, they're flat. So I'm a little curious if my other Briggs, if I were to take the head off of it, my other 5-horse, if they would also be at an angle like that. I don't know. I believe that's all the parts. I mean, we have a lot of good stuff for this engine. We have everything to complete it. Like I said, I'm going to try to get some different hardware and yeah, just measure everything out and get it ready to fit. So I guess that's it for this video today. It's just a quick introduction to what we're going to build with my DIYWILLY Briggs Raptor engine. I'm assuming it is. I'm calling it a Raptor engine. And because I always name my engines, I'm just going to name it Briggs Raptor, you know, the Raptor engine. So whether it is or not exactly, I don't know. Hopefully somebody can fill me in the comment section. I'm going to call it a Raptor regardless. And I'm going to have fun building it. And I hope you all enjoy watching me build it. And this is not my first Briggs. This is actually my second Briggs I put together. I've got a couple more I'm going to build. The one that we started in the last Briggs video, I'm not necessarily going to build it, but I may put a billet rod in it and a billet flywheel on it because we got to remove the governor in it. The governor is still in that engine, and I don't want it to blow up and, you know, do weird things. So I will replace the rod in that engine. I will probably lap the valves. I'll probably put a billet flywheel on it and just check this rings, check the cylinder. It's easy to get stock rings for that engine, so I may get stock rings for that engine, put new rings in it. And in fact, I may have a set actually. But for this Raptor engine, I think I've got what I need to make a pretty nice little engine. We'll probably run a VM22 carburetor on it. We know we can get those manifolds, and obviously I'll have to make a custom exhaust. But I mean, look at the size of that exhaust port. That thing's huge in comparison. Look at that. Pretty neat. But this engine, it's going to be great. It will be painted black, and it will be red on the cover with a DIYWILLY sticker and with nice hardware, and just be an all-around very nice looking engine. Hopefully it runs good. Like I said, if you remember, this engine was completely seized up. The crank would not turn. The piston would not move in the cylinder. The cylinder was rusty. I've got some pictures. I'll put them in here so you can see it. But I'm looking forward to doing this build, and I'm hoping everybody is also looking forward to and follow along on this build. It probably will be a long series because there's a lot of questions I still need to answer about the assembly. And well, it takes time, and I only have a few hours a day to work, and between life and family life and work life and YouTube life, I only get so much time. So I'm going to get going on it. I'm mumbling now, you can tell. I talked about the Baja project. When those parts come in, we'll get back to work on that. But for the meantime, we're going to fill the time with the Raptor. And we may put the other Briggs on Max and take him for a ride. But for now, it's the Raptor time. Time for the Raptor. So if you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already, please. It doesn't cost you anything, and it really helps me out with the algorithm and views. And always come back to DIYWILLY for your Briggs and Stratton builds, your mini bikes, your Bajas, your trucks, even my Samurai. I got more work to do on the Samurai. So thanks for stopping by, checking out this video, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.